Throughout our existence, we've observed, interpreted, synthesized, and hypothesized what is and what will be. Nature is all around us. It's great and small, visible and invisible, magnificent and dire, mysterious and revealing. It's uncontrollable, but its understanding can be pieced together through time like a complicated puzzle. Each step we take toward understanding its complex structure and how we fit within that structure will undoubtedly bring us closer to its heart. As this idea grows today and into the future, the state of the environment will once again be the foundation of our existence. But it's every part of our existence today. Why wait 2 or 3 generations into the future to come to this conclusion? The discoveries that humans made before us were written into multitudes of volumes for the purpose of enlightening future generations. From this understanding, we process new information that continues to build on the foundation of knowledge of the last 10,000 years. These interactions of knowledge will grow, but it's the fear that we will lose the importance of these chapters and our natural world will perish, simply from the lack of interest in what we have around us today. What is the value of the natural environment to us that it's so important to the young heirs of our planet? Understanding our place in the natural world requires a philosophical approach because we've forgotten its importance in our individualistic lives. Is this too direct? Maybe. Maybe not enough. The statement, "we have forgotten its importance," is a resounding echo by scientists and environmentalists today. We've heard many times that there is a lack of environmental awareness, an awareness that protects the natural environment for future generations. Many voices, but little action. Why is environmental awareness so important to the coexistence of humanity and nature? Where do we fit in the grand scheme?
Well, first of all, they have to be aware. Every human has to be aware of his or her effect on the planet. Awareness is number one. Education. You've got to know when you're brushing your teeth, and the water is running and running and running, and maybe a couple of gallons run through. You've got to be aware of the fact that it's a limited resource. We've got to get away from the idea that there's always more of everything. We go to a grocery store and there's always more of everything, at least in this country. But that's not always the case. At some point, we're going to run out. We have a beautiful blue-green globe here called planet Earth. It's got limitations on its resources. We can't just keep pummeling and pulling out the resources that we utilize without realizing they're limited. And so awareness is number one. We've got to know that it's limited.
We need more science education. It's getting to the point now where things that should have been learned at a grade school level is getting shuffled off to the college level, and things that should be learned at a college level are getting shuffled off to the postgraduate. And society as a whole tends to downplay science. There's a problem in that there's people who offer scientific evidence for things, and yet it may be a little pseudoscience or it may be a little slanted. And so communities tend to get a little jaded when they hear the scientists say, because they've heard some of the sort of peripheral scientists talking about some things, and they know it's not necessarily true. But they discount then all science, all scientific thought, all scientific inquiry, because they're basing their impressions off of these small subset of people who may not be the experts in the field.
We are but a moment in the scheme of the natural world. But what is considered the extent of the natural world? Is the answer based on borders or divisions of land and sea? Can it be found on the planet or written in the heavens? Or is it something bigger? The origin of nature is not the moment when the first signs of life began in the seas after the earth cooled. It isn't the moment when the planet was created, or the creation of the sun or galaxy. Nature was created 13.9 billion years ago, at the origin of the universe. Billions of years later, the objects we see, touch, taste, feel, and hear originated from that moment. In every single aspect, we are very much a part of nature. The only difference is the various forms from which we came. Acknowledging this recent scientific discovery of the origin of the universe and that we are a part of the origin is dependent upon our accepting the facts. This is difficult because we accept facts that we can see. We've accepted the development of technology that we have in our reach today. You buy tech gadgets and live in a world of organized society. Computers, televisions, mobile phones, laws, taxes, automobiles, constitutions, and politics are all ideas we have accepted. But we must be able to acknowledge facts of things yet to come. More importantly, education is the key to protecting the environment for the future. Whether your understanding comes from this film, other films, a teacher, or a community of concerned citizens, we all must come together to coexist with nature more than we have in the recent past.
Well, science is our tool, our tool to learn about the world around us. That's how we do it with science. Science is objective, science is deductive, science is unbiased. So it's our tool to learn about this wonderful world of ours.
Why is this important to me? You know, and answering, I always try to use the example of general education. We have here at the university a series of courses in different disciplines and subjects because the university feels, and universities across the country feel, that every student needs to have a general knowledge level in several areas. And it's not just because we want to make their, add 40 credit hours to their, however many credit hours it may be, to their careers here as students, but because we feel that the educated human being in our society should have a basic level in all these topics, so that when situations that involve science or art or the humanities affect you, you're not sure when it's going to happen in your life, but when that time comes, when it affects you, you have a better basis for understanding the situation and how to react appropriately to it.
Seniors that are about to go into the world or go on to advanced degrees, we find that a substantial portion are not aware of things like the effects of global climate change. What do they do? So it's important that we do our job and sort of getting the word out.
It may not always be obvious at the moment why an understanding of earth science or weather and climate or any of the other general ed courses offered on a university is important to an individual, but sometime in their life they will experience that will come back, and they'll hopefully remember those courses and say, yeah, I know a little bit about that, but it will help them to make a better decision in the future.
I think it's if one tunes in, one reads the newspaper and looks at the news and watches and listens, it's becoming pretty much aware. It's a story that's unfolding in front of us, and I think more and more are becoming aware. But still, we need to make that happen even more because the more collectively we learn about the results of our development, the negative effects, maybe the faster we'll respond in trying to mitigate those effects.
We were lectured to. You don't lecture today. Today you get people involved, and you get people deeply involved. If I were doing it in Terre Haute, Indiana, but I would have them working at the soup kitchens. I would have them out there. You have to explain. I would show them the debris that we have in our alleys. I would show them the scum on the Wabash River. I'd take them to the White River and I'd show them the fish kills. But I'd show them also, I'd take them to the nurses. I'd take them to something in town. In Terre Haute, they have an event called the Sycamore Social, where the less fortunate, the handicapped, the individuals whose physical body either did not develop as one would hope or expect as a parent, or were impacted by the environment. I would take them and show them these things.
We as a society need to understand more of cause and effect. That's bottom line. It's not even just being scientists. It's just, if you do something, what's the ramifications of it? And science helps you learn how that occurs, okay? And so a lot of the problems that people have, for example, out in California, a lot of places that did mining for many years, hard rock mining. So you've got caverns and adits and stuff that still exist. And folks for a long while said, oh, well, look, we got a big hole in the ground, we're finished with it, let's throw our trash down there. And that's what they would use as their landfills. Made good sense at the time, didn't understand the cause and effects. Now they've got, leakage coming from there, leachate, bad stuff that's full of nasty chemicals and byproducts from throwing this stuff down there. It's breaking down and it's getting pushed through all kinds of systems and contaminating their water because it wasn't properly done. They were just sticking trash in a hole. Again, they thought it was good at the time, but it really wasn't. And it continues today. We do things today. We automatically say, okay, this is a problem. Let's fix it this way, without really going through the scientific process, seeing what the cause and effect is, seeing that if you actually change a system somehow, what might the ramifications be? They just go ahead and say, let's change it. Done. And so if we incorporated more scientific thought, more cause and effect, more research into our everyday lives, and I'm talking about just, people in the street too, you could understand your world a little better and maybe even prevent some things from getting out of hand, such as the problems with the mines back in California.
I know this is a very grim picture I'm painting, but we have to be aware. That's the beauty of science, advancement in science. Science tells us that these are things that are coming ahead, and why is it so hard for us to listen to it and be prepared? Sometimes we don't, mostly because of vested interests. Some people are making money on the basis of status quo. They don't want to change it. It's only natural for them not to do that, but we have to be conscientious as consumers to pay attention to these things.
Nature. It's the foundation of our existence and the bedrock on which prosperity is secured. It is our obligation, our responsibility to acknowledge the harmful influence we have on it. What we do to nature, we do to ourselves. We must change our thinking that nature must adapt to our existence. Once we remove the blinders, we will see a new view of the world. A world of growth. A world that is equally balanced. The harmony between nature and humanity. The foreseen struggle will undoubtedly be upon us if we continue to keep our eyes shut, and our voices silent, and our minds closed. We are nature. It runs through our veins. We breathe it, partake it. It gives us life, a precious life worth more than anything in our material world. It is you. It is your children. It is your neighbor, your religion. It's your existence. It is no longer something to debate about. Take action or its splendor will be lost. Lost forever. Every second, every minute of the day, and every year we live, we move forward into the future. Nature will be there every moment of the way. All it takes is the wrong choice to destroy ourselves. Common sense is all that is needed to protect the future for our children. To each of us, there is something important about nature. Whether it's the rhythmic ripple of water, the morning song of birds, the radiant color of a flower's petal, the graceful flap of a bird's wings soaring across the landscape, the tranquility of a sunrise in a lush meadow, the cooling mist of a waterfall, the emotional chill you feel as an elk looks into your eyes saying, "I am here." Once you touch, feel, and grasp nature, your life will experience a moment that will complete the circle, the full circle.
There's no place on planet Earth, on the surface, in the oceans, in the atmosphere, that you can go that you won't find the human footprint. No place. Absolutely, we're affecting it all, in ever-increasing ways. We have to be better managers of this planet. We have the intelligence to do it. If we don't do it, it'll come back to haunt us, and our children and our grandchildren will be haunted by what we don't do today to make it sustainable.
If we could incorporate some more scientific thought, just a little bit of, cause and effect into our everyday lives, we probably would improve ourselves a whole lot.
The net effect is, as people start living with this change in our lifestyles, we're going to get upset. We're going to have winners and losers. What happens when you have winners and losers is you get instability. And what happens in the world when you have instability on a mass scale is you get war. And people are not planning for that yet. But maybe we should start thinking about the mass implication of that on a global scale.
We're all inhabitants of a special planet. We're all inhabitants of a wonderful world put together so beautifully. A world that was put together so there would be no war.
Visit forests, just your local national park. Don't go picnicking with your radio. Just sit quietly and watch. Things won't come together at the same time. You have to spend some time and watch all the things that go on around it. I don't have to tell you anything. Just sit and watch. And you'll appreciate it. Nobody has to teach you these things. You just sit and watch how beautiful, how functional that system is. Why would you want to disrupt it? I don't have to say anything. Your environmental teachers do not have to teach you anything. You will come away with that feeling because you are, after all, you were not very far away from that 50, 100 years back. Your ancestors were not very far away from that natural system. We have somehow become plastic and metal only now. So it's still in you. It'll affect you. Just sit there and watch.
One country in the world has the opportunity today to put it all together. One country has the size, the population, the weather, the climate, the soils, the agricultural production, and I think the will, and that's the United States.
And I have every confidence we can win this if we admit that that battle is there and that we have to make some changes to our behavior in order to fight it. But the first step is to admit that it is a serious problem with serious implications, and then we have to change our behavior.
Yeah, I would say that that we all have to get involved individually, collectively, because the biggest enemy to positive change is apathy, simply not caring, not becoming involved. Being apathetic gets nothing done, whether it's for voting, whether it's for sustaining a resource. Apathy will get us absolutely nowhere towards being better managers of our planet. And so we must not be apathetic. We must get involved individually, collectively, if we want to make this planet continue to be the beautiful place that it is. That's it.
To learn more about this program or purchase a DVD copy, visit us at tcpfilms.com.